Welcome to Staircase to Nowhere, your ministry and culture podcast. In case you haven't heard the news, Apple's got a new VR headset, and we feel like Grandpa's saying this thing will never work. Or will it? Could VR just be the next step in our increasingly disembodied society, disconnected from our closest neighbors while communicating with people across the world? We talk about the gnosticism of internet culture, the importance of a healthy theology of our bodies, and ask, can we plant churches in the metaverse? We're so glad that you joined us for this conversation, and we'd love to hear from you. You can shoot us an email at staircasepod@gmail.com, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can reply directly to this episode. Please send us your questions, your comments, your snarky remarks, your ideas for future topics. We'd love to hear it all. Again, thanks for joining us. Hope this conversation encourages you or something like that. Here we go.
So glad to have you with us here on Staircase to Nowhere. We thank all of our listeners for joining us. It is a gift to have you this afternoon, evening, or morning, or middle of the night, whenever you happen to tune in to the pod. My name is Noah, and I go to seminary.
Hi all, I'm David, and I'm a pastor and a fence builder.
Yeah, you are. We'll drop a link to a picture in the show notes. I'm Sam, and I do street and community outreach. And I'm just so glad to be here. It's been a long time. People have probably noticed no interruption in our release schedule, but we haven't gotten to chat in weeks.
That's the magic of the pod.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't recorded an episode in over 3 weeks. So much has happened since then. Whole thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
With submersible.
Yeah, the submersible happened. I think Trump got indicted again.
I'm covered
talked.
Covered in Canadian wildfire smoke here in Indiana.
David is up in flames.
We had smoke here like weeks ago. Now they're getting smoke. Smoke's still happening. I'm sure whenever you listen to this, there's still going to be smoke.
Yeah.
And also the big news was Apple released a VR headset. You say, why is that so new? What? Because VR has been around forever. Oh, just wait. We've got a whole conversation ready for you. Is VR for real?
Yes.
First, I just wanted to talk about technology that has impacted our lives. You know, if we're going to think about technology that has the potential to change the way that we live, let's think about a technology that recently has changed the way that we live, and that would be the app Goodreads.
Yes. And amen. How did this happen? I'm on Goodreads now. I fell for Goodreads hook, line, and sinker. Like, it was love at first sight. Me and Noah were texting. Why did you tell me to do this?
Okay, so...
Oh, I remember. I think I remember. Was it because I was afraid all my books would burn up in a house fire and I would lose them?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, David's laughing. I was just telling Noah, I was like, you know, sometimes I'm like, I love having books, like my bookshelf and stuff. I was like, I'm just afraid one day my house is going to catch on fire and then I'm going to forget all the things that I've read and I'm not going to know how to start a library again and I'm going to be really sad. And then Noah was like, dude, what's wrong with you?
And you were like, I want to add something to my wish list. I'm like, how do you keep a wish list? And then you said some system that didn't seem very efficient.
Amazon.
Yeah. And I was like, bro, you need Goodreads. So for those of us, I mean, we know that most of our listeners know what Goodreads is because we know most of our listeners. But for those who maybe have not heard of Goodreads, Sam, could you just give brief, like, what the heck is Goodreads?
Yeah, so it's the purest form of social media.
What? This is so overselling.
Well, it is because it's not smooth and it's not very like intuitive. I had to Google how to do some stuff. I was like trying to figure out how to add things to my favorites list.
That's true, actually.
I had to read an article. I was like, how do I do this? But it's great. So basically the concept is like you build a library of books that you have read and you build a library of books that you want to read and you get to interact with them. Like you get to leave 1 through 5 star reviews. You can write reviews. You can do all these wonderful little things. And the social media like interface part of it is you can see what all your friends are doing. So I know that I know what book Noah is reading right now, and I know that he's about 60% done with it because you can post your status updates, and you can like, and you can comment, and it's the dorkiest, and it's the nerdiest thing about being a person, but everybody needs to do it because it's really encouraging. Because I made progress 40%. I'm 40% the way through my book right now, and I updated it, and Noah's fiance Rebecca liked the status update that I am 40% through my book, and I was just like, thank you for recognizing my hard work in reading. So, yeah.
Wow. David, does this sound like something that you would use? Is this an app that you would be into?
I mean,
you're as nerdy as the next guy.
My family's doing a reading challenge right now. It's the Our Lady of Leisure Summer Reading Challenge.
For anybody interested in joining, they take quote-unquote randos. David said that.
I did say that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're doing a contest. You mark your reading status each week. I'm surprised my sister didn't tell us to just use Goodreads. That would have been very convenient, and we could have talked about what we've read.
What if she doesn't know? Do you think she doesn't know?
No, I know. Tell your sister about Goodreads.
No, I know she uses it. I've seen her reviews of books.
Oh, okay. I was like really excited. I was like, I'm about to blow her mind.
She is one of the most avid readers in my life. I think last year she read like a book a week or something stupid like that, or more than a book a week.
Dang.
I have been binging the Hunger Games.
Nice.
During summer break, listening to that, and I get it. I want to apologize to the sophomore, junior girls when I was a senior who ridiculed them and made fun of them for reading that book because I had a
fun of them?
superiority complex because I distinctly remember saying, "Hey, this is just another retelling of." Lord of the Flies, or there's a Japanese movie where they send a bunch of kids to this island to fight each other to the death, and I thought I was so much cooler than them because I knew about that movie or that I liked Lord of the Flies. So I want
in his scholastic ivory tower, speaking down to them.
So I need to apologize to all the girls who I was rude to when I was a senior and they were sophomores and juniors. I am very sorry. It's a great series.
Good. I hope this reaches them.
I guarantee it won't.
Is this the first time that you have read The Hunger Games?
It is.
Yeah, that's my question.
It is.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you've humbled yourself because it's really good.
Yeah, it's a great
My opinion
read.
of PETA stays the same. He's a weak little boy.
He's weaker in the books than the movie. That's true. But she loves him.
Oh.
Okay. This is not an unpacking of the PETA and the...
Yeah, Rebecca got me into Goodreads, and she's the queen of Goodreads, of course.
Yeah, she's on it. She's not been around very long, and she's on it.
Last year, she read over 120 books, and yeah, she just did it no problem. And so this year, her goal, she set it at 70. She set it way lower, and she's very frustrated that she's now a couple books behind. She probably won't even like me saying that because she doesn't want you to know that. But she's working very hard to get on track. And I have zero doubts in my mind that she will finish 70 books by the end of this year. She's going to finish 100 books by the end of this year.
Does she
that's just what she
include
does. She does.
Oh, okay. That's easy then.
Because Goodreads does allow you to do that.
She's listening and reading books?
Yeah, she does them both.
At the same time?
Wow.
No, but... So
that's how I get my media in.
She got me on Goodreads. I set a goal of 50 books for this year. Why not? I'm in seminary. Yeah. I have to read a lot. 50 sounds reasonable. And that's actually been really hard to do. But, it's hard for me because my thing is I don't finish books. So, I can't count a book unless I've finished it.
Yes.
So, I spent a lot of time earlier this semester reading this book, The Journals of Jim Elliot, the missionary who was martyred at age 29. Loved it. But the journals are 600 pages long. I'm not going to read all of it. I read I don't know, 200, 300 pages and gave up because that was enough.
Yeah, we're very different. David, I'm curious how you are, because Noah and I, we've had this conversation, because I have like a mental system where I generally don't like to put a book on my bookshelf unless I've read it. And I like to read one book at a time. And Noah is like 100 tabs open on my browser. Like, it's fine. Add another one. David, can you have like multiple book tabs open, or like are you like a one and done?
It's kind of interesting. It depends. If it's theology, I can just have a couple open. But if it's a story, I want to finish the story. So.
That's true.
See, I do feel that way as well. Like, if I have a fiction book, I just have one fiction book. I'm not reading multiple fiction books.
Yeah.
But as I've seen my Goodreads this year, I read like 2 fiction books for every 10 nonfiction theology books. And it was so funny because, Sam, I was getting to like the end of my stack. You know, I keep a stack of books by my bed and I kind of read them as I go when I want to. I rotate through them. And Sam got me 2 books for my birthday. And I was so excited to put them at the top of my stack. So I started both of those books. And the other books have been decreased on the stack.
That's so funny.
So they're all open right now. But that's why I knew that you would love Goodreads, because it like allows you to track these things, the books that you've read. And literally, you guys, I told Sam about Goodreads. He says, "Oh, I'm going to set this up tonight." And then for the next like 3 hours, he proceeded to rate every book on his bookshelf by a star rating. Every single book.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened.
When I opened Goodreads for the first time, it was like, "Have you read this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And I just did that like a couple times, but I didn't go through and like mark all of my books.
No, I told you I was scared. I'm scared of a house fire and I'm going to lose them all. So I want to have a digital. And me and Erica our bedtimes have been very out of sync. The other night, she was like at like 7:30. She's like, "You trying to go to bed?" I was like, "Nah, I cannot go to bed this way." But so she was like asleep. And I had nothing to do, so I just stood in my living room with my laptop, and I was just like, it was a dream come true. I couldn't have asked for a better way to spend a quiet evening at home.
Yeah, he was texting me like, "I can't believe you didn't tell me about this already. How long have you known about this? I needed this app."
Yeah, so for all of you, get off the TikToks. Get off Vine. Get off
Vine is
Tumblr.
closed.
Get off it all and get on Goodreads and do yourself a favor. Even if you're not a big book reader, it's fun.
Which brings us perfectly to our conversation for today, which is Apple Reality. Oh, it's not called Reality. No.
And I also want to know, every week we transition and you always say, which perfectly transitions us. And it's never perfect.
But if you say that it is, they believe it.
You got to have the vision to be a pro to be able to transition to this.
There it is.
There it is. An apple a day keeps the Vision Pro headset away.
Sort of. Yeah.
So Apple did WWDC, which is their big worldwide developers conference. They do it every June. And for the last few years, Apple kind of hasn't had anything big to announce. They just do the next iPhone. It's just like the last iPhone. It's the next number.
Well, no, they always say our best iPhone yet or something. They always say our best yet. And it's like, well, duh. That's why we're all here.
I mean, yeah, backwards. Exactly. It's getting iteratively better at this point. And I read a lot of The Verge, which is a tech news website. It's basically like my number one news source.
Wow.
And this has been true since you were like 15.
Absolutely. Since The Verge was called This Is My Next. It used to have a different name.
Whoa.
I was on it then. Yeah, and like I've been a very faithful person to the point that like they hosted like an anniversary celebration in New York City and invited people to like register, and I like thought about it. I was like, I should go to this. I would meet so many people with similar interests. So, all that to say, I'm very excited to get to bring my tech news knowledge to this ministry culture conversation today. But so they talk a lot about how smartphones are just like a mature platform at this point. That basically everyone who wants one has one, and it basically does what you want it to do. Like the jump from like the first iPhone to like the iPhone 4 was like amazing. And then the jump to like the 10 when there's no home button anymore was amazing. But nothing's really happened since. And I mean, maybe it didn't need to because the iPhone like totally changed the world, you know? But basically Apple's looking for their next big thing because they're like $1 trillion company now, and you don't stay $1 trillion company without creating new product categories and finding new revenue streams of income. And so in their Worldwide Developers Conference at the end, they announced something that basically no one was asking for.
We never ask for it, but they tell us what we want.
Yeah.
But they did. And they said it's the Apple Vision Pro. You guys, what did you like remember from the announcement? What did they like talk about?
Did you watch the announcement, David? I did not watch.
What? You guys didn't watch the announcement?
No.
I do remember I saw a highlight and people were like, when they saw the price tag, they're like, what? They like laughed at the price.
I do remember my first reaction seeing it and going like, here. I was kind of like, here we go. There it is. Like just I've seen, VR, quote unquote, like VR headsets at like the checkout at TJ Maxx or like just
my God,
very, you know what I mean? Like very like cheap versions of this thing that's coming, but Apple's like very sleek and metal and fitted design. I was like, oh, this is different. This feels different just looking at it.
Why did they not call it the IC?
Oh my gosh.
Just 2 letters. IC.
Well, Apple's been going away from the i stuff for a while now. It wasn't called the iWatch.
That's true.
Yeah, because I knew that sounds creepy.
That's true.
They're called AirPods, not iPods. Oh, wait.
That was taken.
I guess I do get it.
This would make sense for these to be iPods. Like EYE.
Oh.
Whoa. Code cracked.
So wait, what is?
But no,
for
maybe,
those of us who haven't seen the announcement, what is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe describe it and talk about what we're dealing with, or I can. It's a VR. So, what's different about this product is it's VR, which is virtual reality, but it's also augmented reality, which means that in virtual reality you can be fully immersed in like a world, kind of the metaverse stuff where you're like walking through the jungle, you're like walking through a community or something with your little metaverse person. But augmented reality is like transparent lenses where images and media are like projected into the world that you're seeing. So like if I'm sitting here at my desk, instead of sitting here with my computer, I could have my glasses on and then I don't even know, like a news feed or like a document and stuff would just be projected in front of me. And with this headset, there's no hand controls. Just with the movement of my eyes and the movement of my hands, I can edit the document. I can scroll through the document. I can do all this sort of stuff. So that's a pretty big difference with Apple's like whatever it is, like the eyesight, eye following technology. So your eyes are like your mouse, which is pretty nuts. And the fact that you can toggle between, like the augmented reality would mean you and all your friends could be sitting with your goggles on, like having a conversation, still see each other. But maybe if you're like showing each other pictures, those pictures could be projected into the room and you guys could all like look at them together or something. So pretty wild stuff. It's pretty cool. Like awesome surround sound, 4K display, like just can take pictures and stuff. But yeah, it's just feels like a different device than what we've seen than just my opinion, but I'm
Yeah.
not the Verge
So
guy.
a while ago, Facebook bought Oculus. Oculus was like the first like headset. It was called the Oculus Rift. It was like a VR headset, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, this isn't like the Nintendo 90s headset anymore. This is like real," you know? And it was like Facebook thought it was going to take off so much that they renamed the whole company Meta. And they're like, "We're all about the metaverse now. We're going to produce the place where people want to hang out, and we're trying to make Ready Player One a reality, where people like will sit in their houses on the headset because they can go everywhere and do everything they want with all their friends as little avatar people." And basically that has not taken off. Like, Facebook's vision of the world, people don't really seem too interested in as of right now. People still like want to go outside, and like the pandemic showed us, like everyone gets really like antsy when they're told not to go outside.
Yeah. People still like the sun. People
Yeah.
want freckles on their faces.
I guess so. And they want to like go out to restaurants and like hang out and like
Explore the world.
just be people, you know? And like after the pandemic, the like travel came back. It just like went crazy, you know? Everyone like flights just went like everyone needed to get out and go do something, you know?
Yeah.
And so that could have been like Facebook's moment, like for people to get into VR, and it just kind of wasn't, you know? But it's the prime moment for Apple, because Apple always does this. They're not early adopters. They are late adopters. But by the time they do it, everybody gets on board. So,
Yeah.
like, there were smartphones before the iPhone. There was like Blackberries, there was like Palm Pilots, but there was no smartphones where the whole screen was a touch screen and you could use multiple fingers to like do gestures and stuff. They just like totally upped the game, and now everyone you know has a slate of glass in their pocket.
Yeah.
You know? And in the exact same way, Apple stepped in and said, "We're going to do VR now." And they released this headset. Well, it hasn't come out yet. No one's actually used them yet. But like when I saw that, the big thing is the front of the device, which on like Meta's headsets are just like plastic and you can't see anything. The front of this device is actually a screen that shows you the eyes of the person that's wearing it. And so it's like,
Wait, so it's not like see-through. It's like a projection of their eyes and
yes,
like a projection of their face.
It's not a real, like, it's not a window. It's not glass.
That is weird.
It's weird. When I saw this picture, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they've done it." And I thought that it was see-through and you were really seeing their face. But there's so much technology there. Like, literally, there's giant 4K displays like an inch away from your eyes.
Oh my
Like, they're so close that like people that wear glasses have to literally buy prescription lenses to fit into a special slot because your glasses won't fit underneath this headset. So
I remember my mom saying, "Don't get too close to the TV. You're gonna hurt your
Yeah,
eyes."
and now we're gluing them to our faces.
Oh my goodness.
no, yeah, exactly. And
Interesting,
then the whole front of the display is a screen, and what it's showing all the time when you are on see-through mode, where you can see everything that's outside of this display, is your eyes. And so it's a visual cue to all the people around you that I can see you, and you can see me, and you can literally have a conversation with someone like this. And they're wearing this headset, but you can still see their face.
I hate it.
But it just feels so seamless and integrated, like as opposed to the other headsets that, well, we could get into it, but opposed to other headsets, maybe you have the illusion that you are still in the real world, that like you are still just talking with people and everybody can talk to each other and see each other and stuff. And it's just normal. It's just life.
Right. And that's what Apple is selling. You know, they're selling that you can wear a VR headset and you don't have to only be in a virtual world. You can turn the little knob and see your whole environment and also have like 100-foot TV screen right here in front of you playing your show. But you can see your friend and they can see your eyes. And when you turn the knob and you go into total virtual environment, then the front of the screen goes this kind of like glowy like color that you can't see their eyes anymore. And it shows that they can't see you. And
Yeah.
I think what's so interesting is how many people are like saying like, I can't believe that. Who would want to like close themselves off from their family and their living room in public and be away from like other humans? And then you're like, wait a minute. What's the difference truly between wearing AirPods with noise cancellation and having your face in your phone? Like, how many families do that already where everyone sits on their own couches in their own rooms, looking at their own devices, not talking to one another?
Yeah. Just go to an airport terminal and just like look around and just like I mean, kind of cards on the table. I feel like this is inevitable. This is like where we're headed. Like there's not as dystopian as it seems. I think that there will be a generation where this is just normal. Like for us, I think about what my phone does and how intertwined with my life is. Like I have the option of carrying my wallet because I pay for things with my phone now. You know what I mean? Like just so much of my life is just on my phone. And I totally see for the next round of kids growing up in this world, it's just going to feel really normal to, learn in VR at school and like have entertainment in VR, like play video games on VR and just walk, it's just coming. Mm-hmm. And it's different than what we see now. It's going to change and it's going to get better. Like our iPhones now are better than the first ones that came out. But I feel like as crazy as it seems to us now, I think people that saw the first iPhone were like, how silly. Like nobody, like that's just, what a luxury. Like that just doesn't, because that's the thing. Like iPhones, when they came out, were really expensive. They were at least twice as expensive as every other smartphone on the market. Like, and that was a big amount of money to drop. And how much is this one? What is it? It's like $3,500 or something, which is a lot.
That's more than I paid for my truck.
I just see a world where it's totally normal to take out a payment plan on your VR headset so you can have it and go throughout life.
I mean, yeah, like this is going to replace every device that you own.
Yeah.
Because
does it work off your phone or is it independent?
No. So it has its own chip in it. It's the same chip that are in the MacBook Pros.
Wow.
So
Holy
it's
cow.
Yeah, it's the new M2 chip. So it's their most powerful computer chip. It's not a phone.
It's a laptop.
And it's
on
exactly.
your face.
You're wearing a laptop on your face and it's not running iOS, which is what our iPhones run. It's not running Mac OS, which is what's on their laptops. It's running its new software called Vision OS. And literally they're selling it as this could be your computer. And like someday,
and your phone and your headphones.
Yeah, we'll have a
and
SIM
your
card.
watch. Like,
I mean, phones don't even use SIM cards anymore. You know that?
Yeah, I just didn't know if it will have the potential for an eSIM card.
You know, I don't think right now it is trying to be a phone.
Okay,
but I could definitely see it being your phone soon, and like. Yeah. I was seeing comments from people who like were talking about their like work from home setup and how like they work from home and so they have like their computer and they have 3 monitors and they have a webcam and they have all this different like setup so that they can have like an office and they can't like take that anywhere. You can take your laptop, but when you're used to working with 3 monitors, it's like really hard, you know? But if you can take your headset and you can go anywhere and it uses your eyes as the mouse and it can do voice recognition for typing, or it has a virtual keyboard where you can like literally type on surfaces and like you can have like imagine as many screens as you want floating in front of you in whatever room that you want. So they're like really selling this idea that it could be all of your devices.
Yeah.
And I think it is funny, Sam, because there's a lot of people right now in all the comments who are just like, no, I don't want it. I'll never use it. And I think that the 3 of us are like, I can't really see a use for that right now. And I think even Apple's kind of like, hey, we're really just trying to make money. We're trying to make the next big thing, you know? But I think that like, I kind of thought it was silly that my grandparents didn't want a smartphone. You know, like, why would you guys not want a smartphone? And I was always like, I'll never be the old person who doesn't get with the times and hang with the new tech. But like, I could really see myself like pushing against this tech and like not wanting to adapt to tech that'll be so normal to children, grandchildren.
Yeah, this overview has been helpful. Hearing you talk, even understanding this, like, I feel like I have a better idea of like what this whole thing actually is. That's interesting. You mentioning that it's designed to replace your computer and potentially to replace everything else. This is where we're going.
Did you guys ever do like Second Life? Or I remember when the PlayStation 3 came out, it had its own VR kind of world where you could talk to other players and you had avatars and you could do all that kind of stuff. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I was definitely not allowed to do that because you can not talk to strangers on the internet.
I remember when the metaverse came out and a lot of people compared it to like Second Life. And I don't know. I think the idealistic version of the future is like Ready Player One, where everyone will have this. But then I like look back at those moments of like the games like Second Life or the PlayStation game or the various times we've had VR, and I just don't understand. Like think about when's the last time you saw a 3D movie, right?
We don't do that.
Right.
I went and saw Elemental in 3D.
Oh, you saw Elemental in 3D?
It was the only show available, and I had to see it.
And I almost wonder if human nature won't allow us to fully immerse, and this maybe will go to an animalistic instinct of, like, I don't like sitting with my back against a crowd, right? Like, the idea of, like, being fully immersed into something, maybe that's just me, but I want to have my senses available, and so I'm just curious, like, why is it things like the metaverse and other VR type of things, or even 3D movies, haven't taken off more than they have, right? Like, what's the holdup? You know, we've had that technology for a while, so why is it just now Apple starting to do this, and why is it taking so long? And I just think it's kind of interesting, like, is there something in human nature that is keeping us back? I don't know.
I feel like a lot of it has just been the technology hasn't been good enough to give us the experience that's worth like it's the BlackBerry to iPhone thing, like, you know, the Apple thing when Stanley's like, how do you type with these tiny buttons? It just like wasn't like the idea was there with the BlackBerry, but it just like wasn't user friendly and it wasn't smooth and it was just kind of, it just didn't make a lasting thing. But when Apple said, you don't need buttons, like, and you don't really need it, you will never need to read a manual because it just makes sense. It's just, you know, like a toddler can pick it up and they just know how to work this phone.
And they do.
So I feel like that's kind of the new wave with VR, where we're all kind of like, that's not going to be, because we've all been playing with BlackBerries. And we're like, yeah, it's a novelty, but I might be overselling it. I could be wrong, but I feel like, I hope they.
BlackBerry's dead. They have no money.
They still are selling stocks. I own like 2 stocks.
Oh, buddy, run, sell it.
I'm so sorry. Well, I think to kind of shift the conversation, David, to throw it to you a little bit, as the only one on this podcast who is currently pastoring a congregation, to kind of ask the question, like asking more the question, like, why does this matter? Cool, all the specs, all the things. But, you know, if people in your church came to you and said, hey, I'm thinking about, you know, I'm thinking about investing in one of these VR headsets, like, pastorally, just kind of ethically, like what are some of the implications you guys see? Like what is this shift telling us about the culture at large and where we're headed, and like how do we how do you shepherd people and how do you encourage people to, how do you disciple people in a world that is moving in this direction?
Thank you for that question.
No one ever asks.
No one asks.
And I threw a very easy question there with multiple ways to answer. So
how do you disciple people to live in a new VR world?
Yeah, go.
So, personally, one of my pet peeves is when you're having a face-to-face conversation and they're, checking their Apple Watch and they're checking their phone. And I think we lose. And I think there's time where you're like, hey, excuse me, I got to, text this person back, right? There's making time for that. But I think we've lost the ministry of presence.
Oh, good one.
Just the physical act of being with that person. Christ in me is the hope of glory. And so being in the room with someone or right there with someone, I think does make a huge difference. And so there is, we don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose the ability to make good eye contact with people. And there's something when you're in the room with someone, you can feel, you can sense things. You can feel the tension. You can feel the, see the look on their face, see the sweat, feel the stress, whatever. You can feel stuff in a room where you can't necessarily through a phone call, and then even less so over the internet. So I think as Christians, we should still make a priority of the intentional person-to-person relationship. However, that does not mean we need to throw it all out. It's worthless garbage, destroy it. We need to not be afraid of it and know how to use it, but to also understand, to me, this is a great way for the church to also show how important it is to be able to be in person and authentic, but also to not be afraid of where culture is going. So I didn't answer your question at all.
No, you did. I thought you did.
Yeah, Sam, I think that question's great because I feel like we haven't, as current church leaders, discipled people how to use our phones. Even on a podcast before, we were talking about how do we use our phones as healthy people? What do we do when we have the internet in our pockets at all times? What's it going to be when now it's the internet in front of my eyeballs at all times? And I think that, David, you just hit the nail right on the head with it's about presence. God is all about presence. Just think of how Jesus came to earth as a man. The incarnation. Literally, God took on a body and lived among us, and that matters. We are talking on FaceTime right now, and you are listening to us on the internet. We're not physically present to each other, but maybe you could say that we're present in spirit, that there's some kind of, way that you're able to see each other, connect with each other. God didn't just come to the earth in spirit. He didn't just come as a disembodied force or he came in a human body, and our human bodies really matter. And I think that we're living in a world that is more and more disvaluing our bodies, even as we maybe idolize them, so there's this desire to stay young and to stay healthy and to build up these muscles that are not really that natural because they go away the second that you stop working them out that specific way. But it's it's out of kind of I don't know, a hatred for the body. You hear words people use online, they refer to themselves as themselves is their consciousness, but then they're inside a meat sack. Or they consider if they're tired, they're this stupid meat bag can't stay up. And they're not recognizing no, that is you. You are a body and a soul. You have human limits, and that's good and normal. And people are hoping and wishing for the day that they can upload their consciousness and live forever. When they are able to not have to deal with this old hardware. People will refer to their bodies as hardware that they want to upgrade because they think that their brain is the software and that that's the only real true part of them. again, this is kind of like it's the underlying of gender ideologies of my body doesn't matter as much as what my brain says about me. And so like we just have this real low view of the body right now, in that we would much rather spend all of our time playing video games, watching shows, hanging out online, and neglecting basic things such as walking, exercising, eating, getting enough sunlight, vitamin D, like getting enough sleep. How many times do we like choose to neglect sleep to watch one more show or like play more games? How many gamers like are actually like healthy, or they just drink like drinks that are not good for them? That is my rant of how the internet has taught us to not care about our bodies as much. And I really see this as like another step in that direction. And it's not good for us. It's not what God says about our bodies.
The natural question to what you just said is like, so what does God say about our bodies? Like what, like, you know, what does God say about this? And so we could talk about historically, this isn't like a new thing. It's not a new thing for Christians to have to fight against the cultural narrative that the world is pushing that says like your body is a meat bag that like is really hindering you, and is that like the truest thing about you is like what's inside of you, and there's this disconnect between your body and your true self.
Yeah.
And I think Scripture really like the Bible really sees those things as so interwoven together. Like we're not just a bunch of meat sacks with like a soul inside that's trying to get out to reach enlightenment or something. That's what Plato would say. Like that's what like other spiritual, like the God of the Bible like took on flesh and became human to save us and to participate in our humanity and to reveal himself to us. So obviously our bodies are a big deal to Creator God, like that. And I think I do think we've lost some of that, because I like that idea. I don't think I grew up hearing that. I don't know why, but yeah, I think we're headed in the direction that is continually telling us that like our bodies are things that are second to who you truly are, and who you truly are is not your body. But Scripture says like, no, those are very connected things, which is complicated and stuff. But
yeah,
that was a rant with no ending.
No, it's good. The historic term was Gnosticism, and it comes from this word gnosis, which is knowledge. And it's basically that there's a true knowledge out there that only the spiritual people can discover. And basically what they were saying is the body is bad. Like everything fleshly is bad. Everything spiritual is good. And the way that you like receive, like achieve enlightenment is by like neglecting your body and turning to the spiritual. And Paul and the early Christians like had to fight against this and say like, no, like in Corinthians, he says the Lord is for the body, you know, and the way that Jesus proved that he's for the body is by becoming a man and taking on one, you know. And I think that you're right. Like the gospel as it's been shared in the church is a very disembodied gospel. Like if you ask someone like, what do you think heaven is? In general, even Bible-believing Christians will say like, we die and then our souls go to heaven. And like they don't have a better picture other than like, you know, clouds and babies and harps. And that's not the Bible's picture of heaven at all.
Yeah, this is like where I was like, is this where we're going? Yes.
Yes, we are. Because the Bible's picture of heaven actually is that there's a resurrection of our bodies. And it's not just that we live as disembodied spirits forever, upgraded to the new spiritual hardware. It's not that we live in the metaverse with God without our bodies anymore. It's that God, at the end, when he judges the world and he makes all things new, he resurrects us. And it says the dead in Christ rise first with him. And like he gives us glorified bodies just like Jesus had when he came back to life. And so I think that like as Christians, as evangelicals, we haven't thought enough about like what it means that we're going to have bodies forever. And they're these ones. They're going to be glorified and better, but it's this one. I'm going to look like this, I guess.
Yeah. And I think the natural implication of that teaching is escapism in the world that's through, I don't know, whatever. It like numbing your body and like making your body like Play-Doh to make it be what you want. Like, not to say we shouldn't take care of ourselves, but like an unhealthy view of like, this thing is supposed to like bend to my internal will or something like that. An unhealthy view of that. And in the church, it's an escapism theology that like God, like missing the fact that God is in the business of redeeming his creation. And that includes our bodies, that includes the world, that includes communities, that includes all nations, that includes all people, and like all the things that are encompassed by that. The gospel is not just this I'll fly away theology that one day, I love that song, gets me going sometimes, but it's not the good news that this metaphysical part of us, our soul, is going to float up to the sky one day and be in the clouds with God. It's that he's going to redeem all things, all things, physical and spiritual. And yeah, so this heresy of Gnosticism, this heresy of, this temptation towards disembodiment, I think breeds escapism in the world and in the church. And it has pretty big implications for us as like in the church and stuff.
So, like the Black Mirror episode, are you guys going to upload your conscious into the cloud?
Yes. Done.
If my grandkids don't think I'm cool anymore, if I don't, then I better.
I have to do it.
That's the thing, is think about how many science fiction media have this concept of, even removing yourself from the body, right? Like being, Black Mirror did it. There's that one show on Amazon that did it. It was like the Afterlife show on Amazon. Like there's so many shows
called
that
Upload.
Yeah. So many shows that have done that. And I think it just shows that Gnosticism is still a huge issue to continue to deal with.
So, to move it along again, just a little bit, this heresy of Gnosticism. Look it up, have fun. Paul had lots to say about it. John had lots to say about it. Like you'll see themes in Paul's letters talking about like combating some Gnostic ideas and stuff. But tying that into like the church today, like disembodiment in the church, like can the church, how does the church exist in a disembodied world? Like, can it? Like, we're headed towards virtual reality church. Like, that's happening. It's already happening now, and it's clunky, and it looks like a Roblox chat room or something. Like, it's so...
It probably is.
Like, yeah, it basically is.
Hey, you can't curse on my Christian Minecraft server.
But yeah, I just like... I think it starts... I guess pulling it back a little bit, like as we talk about VR and as we talk about maybe this next generation that is going to be a lot more comfortable with this new wave of technology. What do we do as church leaders? What do we do as lay leaders and stuff in the church?
Yeah, like what do you do when people that you know, students in your church, are much more comfortable having interactions in the metaverse with people that live all over the world than they are with face-to-face? You know, we already see like a glimpse of this with like teenagers that feel very uncomfortable with in-person conversations. And they spend all day like on Discord, like chatting or video calling with like friends that live in other places. You know, so should we see it as this is a mission field and people are in the VR space and the church needs to be there too? Like if they're going to create VR bars and clubs and hangout spots, shouldn't we create a VR church? And Sam, you found a church that's already doing this.
Yeah, Life Church. They're the ones that, if you have the Bible app on your phone, they're the ones that more than likely you have their Bible app. It's the generic one. But yeah, they already have they launched a campus, I guess.
They call it a campus.
Like, I don't know.
They're calling it a church campus?
They have small groups. Do you still turn and greet your neighbors? Like, I don't. You know, it's already happening. And it's gonna, It's happening in these very rudimentary forms. It's gonna keep growing. We all did it during COVID. Like we just did it without a head mat, without a face, VR thing.
Yeah.
Most of us I did, church became online, and we watched our sermons and we commented to each other and said hi during the meet and greet and stuff. Like it's not that alien of a thing that's coming. So, but I think it's not a buzzword, but it may be the new normal, in a while. So, and I don't know how I feel about it because something doesn't sit right with me. Can you be the church in the metaverse? My hot take is no. I don't think you can.
That's a hot take.
Life Church says yes.
Craig Groeschel would like to have a word with you.
Oh yeah, that would be cool if he would talk to me. No, I don't think. I don't know. I don't think you can. Like I could probably there's just like my gut reaction is like that just doesn't sit right. But if somebody asked you, answer now, putting you on the spot, can you plant a church in the metaverse? Can you plant a church in the metaverse? No.
Do I think there should be missionary outposts? Do I think we should be doing gospel work where people are? Everywhere people are.
Yes.
Do I think that it's a real church? No.
Yeah. Can good things happen in the metaverse? Can good gospel conversations happen? When I used to play Xbox in middle school and high school, I would try to witness to people with my little Turtle Beach on.
Give
did.
your best witness on Xbox Live chat.
Oh no, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how you.
Hey,
I don't know how.
We're in the loading room for COD. Ready? I'm about to kill you. You bleep 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 bleep.
Yeah.
Bleep.
If you never played online video games, it gets pretty intense. People throw around some mean names, so it's hard to turn the be like, well, you're the only guy not like cussing out people's moms and stuff. And then you're like, so do you go to church? Do you believe in historical resurrection? Because I do. Sorry, I derailed that. But yeah, gospel conversations can happen in these places. But I think as like church leaders kind of saying like, yeah, good things can happen, but creating a church is different. And why is that different?
Dave, were you going to say yes to metaverse church?
No, I don't know what I think. I'm still chewing that one over. I don't have an answer yet.
You'll decide in 20 years?
Yeah.
When you're the pastor of experience at metachurch.tv?
Oh, no. Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it has to come to our ecclesiology. It's what is church?
Nerd. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you have to. Your theology has to drive these things. Otherwise, you just start doing stuff that makes no sense, like creating a campus in the metaverse. Okay, so it's like, what is a church? A church is the redeemed people of God, the new family of God on the mission of God, right? So it's like people who've been saved by Jesus and called out to be a family and sent to reach others for him. Like, I don't think that happens when you're not like living in embodied community with one another. I don't believe that live stream can replace your church involvement. I don't think that's really being involved in the church. I understand people who have health conditions and things that don't allow them, and I'm thankful they can like watch teaching and be a part in that way. But I hope that someone who like has to be home has someone from the church that comes and visits them at least every week. Like these are the things that are like a historic church, like what they did in Acts. They didn't just like watch a sermon together from wherever. They came together and lived life together, moved by the Spirit to be testifying to God's kingdom and helping restore the new creation. I just don't think that happens disembodied.
Yeah. And to put a point on it, like if you're still on the fence, my argument would be that like the commission for the church is communion and baptism, which cannot you cannot participate in those community church sacraments like with through your headset or through a Facebook live feed.
Is your avatar going to get baptized?
Yeah, like there's Those are things that we do with our physical bodies, like that like unite us as a church. And it's we eat bread and drink wine together, and we are like we have water sprinkled, or we are immersed in water.
How dare you?
I'm a Baptist, but yeah, like, I mean, but those are very physical things about, like, those are physical markers that mark us as the community of God, the meals and the new life that is found through baptism and stuff. So I just don't see how you can, and that's the New Testament thing. That's like, that's what you do. Like, that's how you do it. And there's no way to substitute that virtually. So, and I think that's the church. I think the church is, if we're focusing on planting churches in the metaverse, we might be like missing our calling, because I think in a world that is constantly disembodied, we need to be a light that is calling people back to the reality that God has, like, your body is not a curse. Like, your body is a blessing. Oof. And your body is a part of the creation that God has blessed. And we need to be an institution that is pushing against the cultural narrative that is saying, your body bad
sucks.
Yeah, body bad. I don't know. I'm not fully formed on this thought, but I think if the church could, I hope the church, we emphasize the beauty and the joy and the regenerative just glory that is found in the embodied community of God through the sacraments and through community together in this new family. So that's my, like, that's where I get like hot and bothered about. I don't think we should go that direction with trying to plant in virtual spaces.
I love it. So, staircase us to somewhere, gentlemen. What do we do with all this? If you met someone who wanted to be a missionary to the metaverse, do you let them, or you give them money? I don't know.
Whoa.
Yes to that. Missionary, but not church planner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Share the gospel with people where the people are. Wholeheartedly believe. But I think that then the people need to, like, when they receive Christ, be discipled to take off the headset and go join a church family in their local neighborhood.
I think my takeaway for this week is I find myself being the old curmudgeon of like, oh, this can't happen, or this isn't going to work, and so I'm trying to come at it with an ounce of grace of like, okay, maybe God can do something in the metaverse, right? And maybe these VR headsets could be something to introduce people to Christ. So I'm trying to not be the inner critic curmudgeon, and
that's good.
Yeah. So that's where my takeaway is.
The internet and smartphones have already connected the world so much. Like, it is amazing that we are able to have this conversation from 3 different cities right now. And VR takes that a step further, in which we'll be able to feel kind of like we're in the same room. Just imagine what that means for, like, missionaries, church leaders around the world to not have to travel to a conference in one location, but to still feel as if they have some community, and it's not just like a Zoom call, but it's like a real, like, I can step over here and talk with someone I want to talk to, and then I can come back together to the main group, and we can sit in a circle. Like, you can do a lot of the things that you can do physically. I just don't think it can be a replacement. So I think that, like, that is the possibilities are really amazing, and I love new technology, and, like, I don't want to be an old person that's like, wow, this is bad. But I think the important thing for us is to really teach a good theology of the body. That people need to understand what God says about our bodies, because that affects so many areas of our lives. Like, our sexuality is formed out of our theology of the body. just the way that we live, like by taking care of ourselves, by resting, by sleeping enough. Like our mental health is formed by how we treat our physical bodies. I just think that like we need to disciple people with the technology they have now, and like teach them why it matters so that an average churchgoer will know, well, that doesn't make sense to go to a service in the metaverse, and like that people would be able to articulate, no, it's important that we come physically together so that I can hug you and so that I can pass the communion plate to you and we can baptize our friend. Like these things matter.
Yeah. I think, Noah, that's kind of where my big takeaway for something you said. Like we haven't even discipled people how to use smartphones. Like we're still catching up on that. And we have, like the church has the ability. I think the church has discipled people in and through really difficult cultural issues to navigate, like through the abortion conversation, through the missions conversation, the adoption, like there's difficult things that the church has said, this is where we believe that at least I would say for the pocket I grew up in, like we believe this, we have biblical convictions, and we want to give you theological resources to like live a life that models the ethic that we believe that scripture teaches. But we haven't really done that with technology in the same way. Like and partly because it moves so fast, it's hard to, some of those thoughts were formed out of decades of research and thought and communicating and stuff. But I think that's the call, is to not be afraid to help disciple and shepherd people through really practical stuff. Like for pastors to actually say, like, what is your relationship with social media? And what is your relationship that relationship with your laptop and devices? Like, how do you actually unplug and find rest with Jesus when you're plugged into it, when you've got USB ports coming out your face? Like, and not being afraid and taking up the mantle to say, yeah, people need to be discipled in this, because this affects our relationship with the God that created us and loves us and wants us to experience and know him. So,
yeah, I think that's why John Mark Comer's teaching has really resonated a lot with our generation of peoples, especially his book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, that he just talks about practicing the way of Jesus in our lives. And like thinking very practically about like the way that we use our smartphones and what that says about what we believe about Jesus. And I just think that those questions had not really been raised. And so that is a very good further reading, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I'm sure that people will develop great applications to ageless theology timeless theology when we have metaverse and headsets and all those things as well. But for now, it's $3,500. No one has one.
Don't buy it.
I really am interested to see the first time that I see one. And take note, people. You're watching a revolution.
Well, that's all the time we have. You're watching a revolution. No, seriously, this has been a fantastic conversation. You boys are awesome. Hope all y'all listening learned about Apple Vision Pro, and I hope you're terrified and just as much as we are. But no, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and make his Apple Vision Pros shine upon your Apple Vision Pros.
No.
I'm getting 2 face palms from both of you.
Are we going to have an anointing service of people's Apple Vision Pros?
No, we're not doing that.
I'm going to anoint some human bodies. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes. Go take communion with your local body. Go be with people. That is the call.
That's your commission?
So thank you, everybody, for listening. Oh. Yeah, that's the commission. Go take communion on Sunday and love it. Oh. So, thanks, guys. Thank you for waving, David.